All right. We are recording, and this is the Everyday Board Game Podcast with Daniel and.
Daniel.
All right. So, we are going to be talking about a few things today, and we are going to start off with talking about what we've been playing lately. So, Daniel, what have you been playing?
Lately, have not been playing any board games.
Yeah.
I have been playing some solo games every now and then. Animal Crossing, we just got it for the Switch, and that's what I've been playing, keeping my time. One thing I do want to get to the table here soon is my newest game is Western Legends.
Very cool. Have you played it yet, or are you just it's brand new to you?
It's brand new to me. I've So with me, sometimes I'll go in and buy board games blind, but I do a lot of research in it, and this is the kind of game that I would like. It's sandbox style. There's many ways to win. I'm a big point salad player. Stefan Feld is one of my favorite designers, and so this has that point salady feel. It's like I can play poker, be really good at poker, and still have a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
Whereas you can go Russell cows and basically win the game being a bad guy, whereas I could just be a gambler and still be able to win the game. It's just whatever you want to do. If you get really good at it, you can win it.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I know I've played Tiny Epic Western that has the poker element into it, and I don't feel like it did a very good job of that. That's one of my least
No,
favorite.
no, yeah, I agree. Tiny Western is probably one of my least favorite of the Tiny Epic series.
Right, exactly. So I'm curious to see they're going to incorporate poker into the game. Like that's very meta game, isn't it? Adding a game
It
into a
really
game.
is, and it's cool because full 52 card deck, um, two through aces of each suit. Each card has its own power, so you use it for other parts of the game, but you can also use it for poker.
Right. That's cool. I mean, the thing is, if you have a deck of poker cards, like if you haven't had one yet and you're collecting games like Great Western Trails, what are you doing? Like, you have to have a deck of cards by then, I'm sure.
And the thing with me is, I love westerns. One of my favorite movies is The Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood,
Okay.
and I remember watching them when I was younger with my dad, and just really enjoy them. But there's only been a couple Western games that I've played, and I didn't really like either of them, and that was Doomtown and Tiny Epic Western.
Yeah.
And there's a couple now out that I really want to try. Of course, Western Legends being one of them. That's the one I picked up. But another one that I'm interested in playing and researched it and looks really good is Great Western Trail.
Yeah.
So that's probably on my hot list right now that I want to buy.
Yeah, the only other one that I can think of that I know you and I have both played is Gold West. But I mean, I wouldn't say that's a thematic game. It's good. I liked
It
it.
it, 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 it it's okay. It's good. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed playing it while we played it, but I think thematically it doesn't give me that Western feel really.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely
It's
more of an abstract.
basically, yeah, it's more abstract because you're just trying to build up the map slightly with things and great combos and stuff like that and get the resources that you need.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's cool. Yeah, I need to give Great Western Trail a try. It sounds or Western Legends.
Western Legends,
Western
yeah.
Legends, yeah. I need to give that a try. It looks cool. So, awesome. Well, I've been the same way. I've played Forbidden Island on through Twitch. I've played a couple of games with my kids, but mainly I've been playing solo games. I found out that Onirim has four or three expansions in the app, and I thought they were just like parts of modules, like they were including parts unlike the card game. But no, I was
Uh,
wrong. The card game actually does have more expansions. It has, I think, seven
really?
altogether. Yeah.
Wow.
And have you played Onirim yet?
I've only played the app. I haven't played the actual card game itself, but I love the app.
Have you played the
Honestly,
expansions with the app yet?
no, I have not. I haven't bought them yet, just because I really enjoy the base game by itself.
Right. Oh yeah. So each expansion adds a little bit harder and a little bit better, or like easier. So there's a balance each way. For example, like the first one, the glyphs that you could buy on
Yeah.
the app, it adds in one more door card of each color. So you have to find 12 door cards.
Oh God,
But
it's hard enough to already find the ones you can get.
right, exactly. But here's the caveat to it. When you're playing it, instead of getting all of those, and instead of trying to get um, the 12 doors, they add in glyph cards, which can be played as a fourth suit. So they help you get doors if you play them like normal. So I could play like
Okay.
a moon, a sun, and a glyph. It would get the doors the same way. But the
Okay.
special ability of the glyph, there's two of each color. You discard it, look at the top 5 cards of the deck. If there is any door of any color, you can capture that door. The rest of the cards go on the bottom of the deck.
Okay. Instead of shuffling, you just go to the bottom. Okay.
They just go to the bottom, yeah. So, I mean, they'll probably be shuffled in real soon after that.
Oh yeah. Once you find something
Yeah,
else or use a key to open a door, yeah.
right, exactly. But that gives you that extra little ability. There's 8 cards that if they're definitely on the door or on the top of the deck, easy win. But the thing is, if if let's say you had 2 doors on there, then you
Yeah.
can't get it with a key because one of those is going onto the bottom if you use a glyph. So if you use like a key glyph combo, it's really cool. I highly encourage those. Then there's another one where they have like kind of wild cards
Okay.
where you can use like a sun, a moon, and a key of any color. But then you also have to find a 13th door that is any color. Technically any color can solve it. So if I have all 3 of my red doors, this is a different expansion. I forget what it's called. But if I have all 3 of my red doors
Uh huh.
and I have another set of 4 red cards, I can find that 13th door, the wild door.
Oh, okay.
But then it also includes dead end cards, which are
Oh God.
cards, yeah, they're cards that go into your hand and you can't discard them and they're completely pointless. However, there's 2 ways to get rid of them. One is by discarding your hand from a nightmare,
Oh jeez.
right? So if you choose that option, if you have 3 dead end cards and 2 suns that you're like, I don't care about,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
dump
Yeah.
them. But the other way is now you have the option at any time to dump your hand. But it has to be every card in your hand.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, but it sucks too.
Yeah. Oh, but I encourage it. It's so good. And so those are just 2 of the ones. The last one, I think, I forget what the advantage is, but it also includes, or what the disadvantage, what the hard part is, but it also includes like different spell cards that have different abilities, where when you draw it, you can discard one of your cards to keep this ability card and use it at any time,
Okay.
which makes sense. The only thing is that you don't remember the abilities because you have to click on the card, and unless you're really good at memorizing the 8 different pictures and what they're supposed to do, which are super abstracted anyway, you're probably not going to remember the special abilities on it. But the app does a good job of telling you which ones. So apparently the base game, the actual card game, has 3 more expansions on top of that. Or 4
Oh,
more.
okay.
Yeah, that I had never played and I've been exploring the past couple days and I really, really like them. They're phenomenal. One of them.
I forgot to mention
Uh-huh.
about on Western Legends. If you go to Board Game Geek, they actually have solo play rules on that. So if you wanted to play it solo, there is solo play on there.
That's
So I'm
cool.
probably gonna try them out this weekend.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been trying out so many of my solo plays lately, especially on the Twitch stream.
Good.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So speaking of solo, are there any solo games that or solo mechanics that certain multiplayer games come in that are you're interested in trying or have tried?
Oh geez. Lately, I mean, I've found that solo mode gaming works really well for co-ops, especially there's no hidden information. But
Yeah.
uh, I kind of did. I played Grim Forest recently
Okay.
as a fake 2-player game, and what I tried to do. So yeah, you have to choose your location, and everybody reveals their location at the same time. And any
Okay.
players that go to the same location split the resources instead of getting all of them. So if you go to the forest and me and uh, me and my wife go to the I forget what it's called, the place where you get the bricks. Then her and I have to split the bricks, but you get all the wood. And so
Okay.
in a two-player game, you have a die that you're actually rolling as a player beforehand, and it removes half of the goods automatically. And so that way it kind of shrinks it down. And I think that's a good implementation. So I was like, okay, well, if that works for two players, I'll just do that for two of the three players, and I will play as the third player and truncate it and see if that works. So that way I don't know two of the variables.
Okay.
And it didn't work. It
I
was
wonder why.
apparently me choosing the location. I had a better strategy than random choice. So, you know, it's a fun game. It looks like a blast. So we could probably play it on here eventually. But like, yeah, it's because the only thing that you would have to reveal is just like at the same time. All right, where are you going? Like that's all it is.
Yeah,
But
so and it's for the reason why I bring up solo game is because right now in this time, a lot of people are socially isolated. So I don't know if a lot of games. I haven't looked up the statistics, but I know there's a lot of fan-made solo scenarios for popular games.
yeah,
Some games come with solo play in them. I
right,
believe Architects of the West Kingdom, which we'll be talking about later, actually their expansion added solo play to Architects, if I remember correctly. I don't know if it came in the box. I know Paladins of the West Kingdom, their worker placement or their solo gaming came in the box.
right. Yeah, yeah. I think it did, and I'm. There's a lot of games that are interesting because uh, they actually like make it where they come with a solo mode version that are very different than the rest of the actual game.
Yeah, I agree. There are some that are completely different, and I have issue with those sometimes
Yeah,
because for me, solo play can teach me the game, making it easier. If it's a lot like the game, making it easier for me to teach the game multiplayer. In fact,
right,
that's solo play is how I learned terraforming Mars. I learned how to play the mechanic. Like the first time I ever played it, it was a solo game, and I made a lot of mistakes. I researched the rules again. I watched play how to play through Watch It Played, and I'm like, okay. Then I went back to the solo play, did it again because it plays pretty much exactly the same as multiplayer, except for in this one, of course, you're by yourself, but you have to meet the terraforming goals by round four, at least by generation 14.
right. That makes sense.
And so that's the thing. The reason why my biggest thing for solo play is I truly enjoy Stonemaier games because all their games now come with the Atoma Factory rule set in it, and a lot of it plays closely to the actual multiplayer gameplay. So
Right.
I can teach myself the core mechanics while still getting a good gaming effort in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Like one of the big detractors with solo gaming, and one of the hardest parts is finding a way to have a smart AI playing against you, or
Yes.
or having it like be legitimate choices. That's why I like Onirim because everything has really strong choices in your hand of
Mm-hmm.
cards. When you draw a nightmare, should you discard a key? All of that is super smart. It's a brilliant design. Whereas like
Should I
Friday,
use my key or should I discard my hand or do I
yeah,
take the chance and just take the top the deck?
yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of good choices in that, and you don't
And then
feel
with
dumb as the
Honarable
player.
too, what I like about it is like you can discard a key and be able to stack your deck how you want.
Yeah.
This way you can get rid of some of those nightmares without having to deal with them.
Yeah, exactly. You can use it as a response card. Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas I've also been playing two other solo games. One is Friday, by Freedom and Freeze, and that one's neat. It's I've played it probably now about 15 times and I haven't won yet. And it is brutally difficult, and it's okay. Like it's I've enjoyed it because every turn you pick out two cards and you choose which one you're going to encounter, and then it's a push your luck success mechanism that you use, and it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a smart mechanism. I wish there was a way to make it easier. But then the other one that I'm playing right now is Hostage Negotiator, which is dice driven.
Oh, okay.
And so that's the problem with having that much random in that is I play a card and then I roll to see if I get one or two successes, and depending on how I roll, that will ultimately decide the outcome of the game.
One
And
of the others. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, and I just don't think it's as meaningful because it's a fun game and I enjoy it, but I don't think it's as meaningful as something like Onirim, where you do really have all those choices, and the only random that's in there is the deck of cards that's shuffled. So,
So that sounds interesting.
yeah.
Um, with me, the other solo game that I wanted to mention that I like playing. In fact, I prefer to play this one solo a couple times. You've actually played it. It's the Imperial Settlers Roll and Write.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Um, so the reason why I prefer this one is because of this aspect right here. So in a normal game, we every time you play it, you always have this one. Everybody's going to use this in a multiplayer and single player game. But in a regular game, this is the pad. This is the everybody has exactly the same pad
Right.
in multiplayer. The reason why I like the solo play it's because these are constantly different. So this sheet is different than this sheet back here, and so you have different styles of plays that you can make in the game. I don't know if you can see it very well, but you have
Yeah, a
like the
little bit.
Atlantean stuff there, and then you have barbarians and the different. Well, the solo play is the faction booklet basically. Whereas the multiplayer, it's the same booklet every time. So the only difference you're getting in the variability is how the dice roll.
Interesting. Yeah. And you still have to compete against it, and it might make different choices. That's a smart way to do it. Honestly,
Yeah,
that makes it more of a meaningful thing, especially with the
yeah,
fact that you have so much random with dice. So
yeah,
it might
exactly. And
work out.
that's why I like the solo play a lot more than the multiplayer in that one. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy the multiplayer, and I enjoy rolling rights in general. And that could be a topic for another time, or flipping rights, whatever you want to use.
Sure.
Um, but I like them in general. But I love that one solo so much
Yeah.
because I could just sit there. I can put something on the TV just in the background, play it real quick, and get a couple games in and be done.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I might have to give that one a shot though. I liked the roll and write just fine. It was okay. I feel
Yeah,
like roll and writes are so depth, like there's so much to do in a lot of them now.
yeah. There's so many of them too.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else? I want to mention, like I was saying earlier about the Stonemeyer stuff here. The Wingspan solo play, um, it's good. I
Yeah.
really enjoy it. In fact, out of all the solo play up there, because the thing about solo play is that it's harder for me to get something like Tapestry or Viticulture solo
Right.
play on the board because there's such a big build of
Yeah.
this game for you to be playing by yourself.
Right.
It's fine when you're playing in multiplayer. With Wingspan, it's pretty much a big build too. So you got to get your cards out, you got to get your panel of birds and stuff like that. But the Atoma deck plays so fast. I can get 3 or 4 games solo
Yeah.
in an hour
Gotcha.
because it goes so fast. And
Yeah.
that's a good thing about solo gaming is that sometimes people just want that itch, but they don't want to spend 20 minutes setting the game up to play for a little bit of time or even
Right.
extended period of time and then have to tear it all down. Wingspan is like you set it up, you're done.
Yeah. Exactly. And
Flip
then
a couple cards, and it works. It's so good, and I really enjoy how fast it plays.
and it's not quite like the multiplayer solitaire games where it's like, all right, we'll try and beat your high score. That's not a solo game.
Yeah,
That's
that's the issue with the terraforming Mars. There is if you don't get everything terraform rated, like that, you don't get all the oceans out, you don't get all the what is it, the oxygen level up, and
yeah. The
what
heat.
is the third one? The temperature. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't terraform, you lose by the 14th generation. You lose. However, if you do get everything done by the 14th generation, then it's just beat your high score, see how well you do.
Yeah. I mean, in games
At
that are
least there's a
multiplayer
trick.
solitaire.
There's a trick to it. At least
Yeah.
is like, hey, if you don't do this, you don't win.
Right. Right. That
But
makes
it's
sense.
yeah. But other ones where it's just like, hey, beat your high score, see how good you do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a totally different thing at that point.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, shall we jump into the bracket?
Sure, we can jump into the bracket. Let's talk about our honorable mentions real quick. Give a
All
little
right.
talk of why, how the bracket's going to work, and then we'll go into the honorable mentions.
Sounds good. So, what we did is we went on boardgamegeek.com and we searched either a mechanism or a category. This time was the mechanism. And we went with worker placement. And so we sorted all the games by rank and we took out every game of the top 8 that you and I have both played. Whether it be once or a while ago. If one of us has played it and the other one hasn't, then that's not a fair assessment of the game. What we did then is we broke it down into an 8 seed bracket. We paired them up together so that way they'll be battling against each other. And we are going to debate each of those 8 seeds until eventually we come up with what we believe is the best worker placement. Now, with that being
Also, to
said,
mention, the way the brackets their seeding, basically 1 through 8, is
hmm,
based off BGG stats. So we just took the top 8 games that we've played. So number 1 will be facing the 8th game,
yep, exactly, 2 versus 7 and so on. And
based
so,
off BGG stats.
yep, based on PGC stats, not our own personal one. And then we also agreed that we wanted to have a very concise. We didn't just want it to be uh, if there is a part of worker placement in it. If we felt that worker placement wasn't the main mechanism or a very vital part of it, then we didn't count it. So that will go into our honorable mentions, which we'll be talking about here very shortly. So,
Yeah.
do you want to kick us off with the honorable mentions?
All right. So my first honorable geek, but it had to be kicked because you haven't played it yet. And I should be getting a copy here soon. So when we do start game night up again, you will be able to play it.
Okay.
And that is Everdell. To me, I've played it once. I really enjoyed it. That's why I went ahead and did the Kickstarter for the
Yeah.
most recent one. This way I could just get everything. Because I wanted the collector's edition. I just didn't want to pay the exorbitant amount on Amazon for it.
Right.
Because people were selling the collector's edition for like $120, $130.
Right.
And that's pretty much what I paid for the all-in package.
Yeah. I don't blame you on that one
So
then.
the reason why I like it, it doesn't change anything really from worker placement games. It's just a very beautiful game. It's a very simple game. It's got little cutesy animals that are I forget the word, but they're like human-like. I
Yeah.
forget that I can never pronounce that term, so I just try not to.
Yeah.
And so it's really good game, really fun. Has a beautiful table presence, and I even bought the wooden tree because that cardboard tree is a little chitsy
Yeah. That's
and
fair.
starts peeling. So, but I mean, the tree is just there for table presence. In fact, most people say in a 4-player game, don't use the tree because people can't see part of the board.
Right.
But the way I think I'm going to have it set up, because the way I have my gaming table configured in my 2-bedroom townhouse here, is I have it all the way up to the wall. So I think I'm just going to put the tree up against the wall, and then this way, 2 people on one side of the table and 2 people on the other side of the table, and it'll still look fine. Um, but the reason why I like it is because you have a couple options that you can do, but you're also building a little town. So it's a 5x3 grid of little towns. So you're going to have inns and breweries and stuff like that in there. So I think it's a really good game.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean I am all in to try it out.
All right,
100%.
so your
Um
honorable mentions?
the first honorable mention that I want to bring up is Agricola, and it there's no doubt that it is a highly ranked um, worker placement, right? And you and I both very much agree on that. But
Yeah, and it's a really good game.
yeah,
The
and it's a
reason
phenomenal
why
game.
it was eliminated
Was because we also have Caverna on the list, and Caverna effectively is the sequel. If we're
mhm,
being honest with ourselves, it really is the sequel, and
yeah,
and
just
it
with dwarves.
yeah, just with dwarves, and it has the extra thing. And there's a lot of things that Agricola has going for it. I personally like the hand of cards better than the tiles being available. Personally, I think that's awesome. And Agricola is really easy to get into. Like, it looks intimidating at first, but I think a family could play it easy.
Mhm.
But we did decide that for the sake of argument, we did remove Agricola from the list. So I wanted to mention it now. Agricola is amazing. Know that whenever we talk about Caverna, we're probably talking about Agricola too. So,
as well. Yeah.
yeah. How about yours?
Agricola, great. You really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to talk about is one in the worker placement category. I don't think it's enough love, in all honesty, because he's got a bigger game in that system, in that same world. It's called Role Player. If you know where I'm going with this, it's in the same work. It's actually a works game. It's by Stanislav Kordanovsky,
Okay.
and it is Locked Up.
Yep.
And the reason why I wanted to mention this one, and I'm part of Thunderworks Facebook group and stuff like that, so I see it all the time on there. But I don't see it like in the Dice Tower group or the Board Game Spotlight or any of the other board gaming groups I'm on Facebook. And I
Right.
think it does something interesting in worker placement that, and you even mentioned this, that when you played it, that you liked how it does this, is that when everything's done and we're trying to figure out who has the most control in an area, because it's got area control as well.
Yep.
It goes in a circle, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way around the board. So you have 5 characters, and you're trying to figure out how you're going to put them in there, see if you can control it. This way, you can get more resources than everybody else, or first choice of cards and stuff like that.
Right.
And what I really like about that is because it gets to a point where you're trying to see how the other player is playing, because their powers vary. There's some that have 0 power, but they don't get hit by guards or suspicion, because you'll have to take suspicion because you're in a prison.
Yeah.
And so the ones I think work very well here is that you can actually hide 2 of your workers. And then if you go into one room, so say I put 2 of my workers in one room, giving me so much power, I can never place more workers in that room. That place is done. It's kind of like Stone Age, where it's put as many as you want there, or put none there.
Yeah.
You can't go back to it.
Right. Exactly. You can't. You
So
can't
if I put
return.
1, I can't go back into that room. I have to place in the other parts of the board, and I really like that, especially since there's some hidden information in it.
Yeah. It definitely had. I liked a lot of parts of Lockup. Other than like, there was a couple things that it did differently, but everything else was just like standard worker placement. And
Yeah.
overall, it was non-offensive. It was easy to play. Yeah. Easy to
And
strategize in
then,
it.
and then another reason why I like it is because the characters that you're playing in lockup are actually the minions
Yeah.
in role player.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty neat. Awesome. Which that actually you mentioned my last honorable mention, which was Stone Age, which actually would have been the next one ranked. It would have been number 9 in there, and Stone Age is just phenomenal. It I just recently got the anniversary edition, the one with the snow covered board, so that's
Oh yeah,
super
yeah,
cool.
yeah. That's a
Yeah,
pretty addition.
it's gorgeous. Yeah, and I like it, and I have some upgraded components for it, and it's so simple. I'm okay with the math part of it. I understand that some people are annoyed by it, but it's yeah, I think it works really well.
I think that's my issue. I love Stone Age. I think it's a great game, but my issue is because of the math.
Really. Yeah, I
Yeah, just because I'm like, okay, I did this, and now I gotta subtract this or divide this to get this kind of resources. Even though this is the number I rolled, but this is how many workers I got there, so I
right.
gotta divide. And it's like, oh my god. I played board game to escape from school. I'm 35 years old. I don't do simple math anymore.
You don't need to, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
no that I don't blame you there. I understand the concern on it. See, I math is kind of my thing, so that doesn't bother me in the slightest. But I like it a lot.
Speaking of math, have you got your son to try to play it just because of the math aspect? I know he's really into it.
You know what? No, I haven't. That's probably maybe I'll fix that today. I'm gonna
Well,
figure.
I'm just saying because of the math aspect of it, he might actually enjoy it just because he
Sure.
loves math.
Yeah, he does like to do the division for it. So yeah. No,
All right,
I'm gonna give that a try later. Yeah, that's a good idea.
my last honorable mention is going to be Abomination,
Okay.
and the reason why is just because I love that theme. I think it's a great worker placement game. I get some of the people's argument about it is because what you're doing in turn 1 is what you're doing in turn 12, and it
Yep.
can go long. Don't get me wrong, it can be a very long game, and I understand that. But to me, it's just the theme that's in it is so different. I think there's only one other Frankenstein game that I own is Horrified,
Yeah.
and that, as great as Horrified is, it doesn't give me that Frankenstein theme. It really gives me the
Right.
Universal monster, but this is more of the Mary Shelley Frankenstein book, the more of the fearsome monster. You're trying to build him a companion based off of Bride of Frankenstein, I guess you can say, and Son of Frankenstein,
Yeah.
the monster movies eras. And I just think it's really, really good. It's a dark theme, very dark theme. So I wouldn't recommend playing with younger children.
No.
I would say anywhere between PG-13 and rated R. Depends on where your child is on that spectrum.
Yeah.
Because this is just not something. Because there is on the place where you can murder someone to get body parts.
Yeah.
So
That's not going to be the first game I bring to my son, for sure.
yeah. So really getting the love. I mean, it was big for a little bit and then tapered off. I just think it for worker placement. And I have a bunch of them. You could probably see Dinosaur Island right above me, right over there.
Yep.
That's another good one. But yeah, I just think Abomination is just it flew under the radar really.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know a lot of my thoughts on it. I haven't said them here, but I personally don't like the game that much. But I think I need to give it a try just because I misunderstood parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now
And that's the
going
thing.
into it,
It's like it's a very hard game the first time you play it because there's so much going on.
right?
Because not only are you going out and collecting body parts, you're trying to get the freshest one. This way you can get the more points.
Yeah,
But you're also trying to build a monster, so you're trying to get stuff to animate it in the dice roll. I mean, the first time we ever played it, there was a 30-point swing just because of dice rolls.
right. Yeah,
Because if I was able to animate my body parts, I would have gotten up to 30 points, and instead of coming in third place, I would have came in or second place. Just by I'd be 2 points behind the leader.
yep, yep. And then, but instead, you are last place by far.
Yeah,
So I don't know. It seems too dice heavy for me, honestly.
dice heavy, but you can play the game without reanimating anything. It's just extra points because I played it with another group of mine, and someone won with only having like 2 animated parts.
Oh, okay.
It's just what they ended up doing was getting their dials all the way max. That's 60 points right there because
Yeah,
it's I think it's 10 or 20 points each time you max it.
yeah. That makes
And
sense.
then he had bonus cards to do certain things that gave him experience off of that or winning points off of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you saw me. I went with just the strategy of I'm going to try end game bonuses and building up the dials to the max, and then
Yeah.
never buying a body part. I'm going to see if that's a viable strategy, which clearly it's not. So,
Yeah, you have to at least or not reanimate, but you have to get some body parts
yeah,
built because that's a good chunk of scoring. Just building them.
yeah, yeah. Now that I know that, that tells me that there's not any other outlet for winning. You have to build the bodies, which is okay,
Well,
but it's
you got to think thematically. Well, yes, you're
yeah,
building
that's the point.
Frankenstein
Yeah.
monsters.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I don't
That's
disregard
the
it.
main part of the game.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I'll give you that. But yeah, it was
All right,
okay, I guess.
all right. So, do you have one more? Or are you good on your honorable mentions?
Let's see, a couple random honorable mentions. First, Kalis, which you haven't played. Phenomenal
I haven't
game.
played. Do you
Ugliest
want to play
sin,
the newer
the old
version
one.
because it looks a lot better than the old version?
Yep, yep. Argent the Consortium. That's awesome. By Level 99 Games. Beautiful game. The most modular board game I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I think I'm
Just about.
kind of the same way with you with Abomination. I think I'm gonna have to retry that game.
Yeah.
First off, I'm never playing it with 5 people again. I think it was with 5 people the
Oh
first
God,
time I
no,
played it,
no, no.
and it took 3 to 4 hours. And I don't mind long games, but when I'm just sitting there like, it's my turn yet.
Yeah,
And then the big part of it too is I played with some people that have AP,
yeah,
so they took 10 minutes just to do their turn, and so I'm still waiting for everybody to do their turn before it gets back to me, and it's just like
Yeah, that
It takes me out of the game.
you and me will play it, and then it'll take 20 minutes, and
I
somehow,
do like
yeah,
the shadow mechanic that it has in the game.
yeah, yeah. That's really
I did
cool.
like the mechanic, and I thought that was really neat. It's just
Hmm.
like I said, I played it with 5 people, and it took 3 hours, and I was just like,
Yeah, yeah. And I'm curious how the new Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. That's a worker placement. I'm curious how that's gonna be. Like that. I'm pretty excited to get that in my hands.
Yeah, it looked interesting. I was gonna back it, but another Kickstarter came out in that same time, so I was like, no,
Yep.
no, no. With Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, my wife needed to pay for her license or her testing
Yep.
to get her MRI licensing. So I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I only
That's more
have one other
important.
tiny. Yeah, I only have one other Tiny Epic game, so I was like, I don't need to back this.
Right. Yeah.
I'll be able to play it. I know like 3 people who backed it in this general vicinity, and they're all part of my game group.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's more priority for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's get into the bracket then.
Before we start the bracket, we do want to mention one game that we
Yeah.
took out. It is part of worker placement on the BGG list,
Oh yes.
but this is the
Yes.
one we were talking about where we felt like the worker placement wasn't the
Right.
main thing.
Right. Orleans. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. It's a good game. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
There is worker placement in it. Yes.
But the
It's a
main mechanic for
Yeah.
me is it's not worker placement to an extent because the workers that you're getting to place are
Yeah.
something that you're getting blind. At least with most of the or all of these worker placements, your workers are your workers. You send them out to do whatever you want to
Right.
do. The workers that you get in Orleans, this guy can go here, here, and here, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you need to pair him with this, this, and this to get this to unlock and get this ability.
Right.
And it's all coming out of a bag. It's blindly pulled.
Yeah. It's the
And
main
so it's more
mechanism is
bag
that.
building to me than it is worker placement.
Yep. I completely agree. And that's why we decided to remove it from the list. And we're just like, all right, we're just gonna chalk it to the wolves for now. That'll be when we talk about deck building and pool building. We'll talk Orleans at that
Yeah.
point. But until then, let's